Hello, everyone. Welcome to one more webinar. Okay, Antonio should be joining us in a minute. He is on his way from Copenhagen and Sweden back to Madrid. So he was trying because he was having some trouble with the flights. But anyway, he also recorded. We did a risk mitigation action. So he recorded a video that if he is not here, I will present his video in a couple of minutes. So I'm super excited to be with you one more time. You know, time runs so fast. You know, it's one more month. And the idea of this webinar, as I always said, it's an absolutely informal conversation about mainly what is happening in artificial intelligence and what are the implications for our work as a project manager. And the idea here is to be extremely informal. For those on Zoom, we have a limited capacity on Zoom, but for those on Zoom, you can place your question, any question, okay? We'll try to answer all of them in the Q&A area. Please do not put them on the chat because it's just impossible for us to follow. You can use the chat to express your opinion, to introduce yourself, to tell where you are connecting from. For example, I'm connecting from today, Lisbon, but tomorrow I'm traveling. So tomorrow I'll be in London for the weekend because this Sunday I'll be teaching at UCL on some topics on project management. So I'm spending the day here at home in Lisbon. And the idea here, is to share what happened in this past month. And of course, it happened a lot of things. And what are the implications for us? So before we start, what I want to share with you before we start discussing, it's for those, I received a bunch of requests from those who are on the AIPM certification. Just to let all of you that are registered for the AIPM, we have already new preparation material. They are already in place on our new platform, Teachable, and we have the new exam, okay? We are very, very close to 250 professionals, certified professionals. We just need to wait from APMG. Of course, we do not have control exactly of the numbers at the moment because this is belongs to APMG, but as soon as we have some more information, we'll share with you. So please make sure you are accessing the new material on Teachable, okay? For those, because I saw on the list of attendees, many people that are already on the APM study. And for those who are already certified, and if you want to revisit the material is yours. You can go there and access it. Another thing, Antonio and I, we did an agreement with APMG and we decided to extend because of this webinar and because of these discussions up to next week, a special price. I know several people ask us, why do you have this a special price for a limited time? It's because for you to be aware, we do not own the full certification. So it's part of the partnership with APMG. So we need to negotiate the vouchers and everything. We are trying our best. But if you use the coupon AI agents, you can have a special price on the certification with $100 less, on the next masterclass with the same coupon, and more than $200 in discounts for the bundle for those who want to do both the next masterclass and the certification, okay? So just make sure you use AI-agents when you are doing your checkout to benefit from that. Okay, now let's go to the really hot things. So what is in my radar this month? And of course, I cannot miss DeepSeek. And why I want to talk about DeepSeek and why does this matter for us? Because I saw on the news a lot of people talking about DeepSeek. Oh, DeepSeek. Oh, there. It's China behind it. It's a dispute between U.S. and China. Let me be very clear. This is nothing. The point here you all need to know, it's nothing related to DeepSeek being Chinese or Pakistani or Brazilian or Portuguese or whatever. What is the point here on DeepSeek? The point is that the model they used challenged every single organization developing tools and large language models on AI. This is the point we are talking here. So let's not misunderstand this, thinking that this is a geopolitical dispute. Okay, it may be, but what DeepSeek did, that is the breakthrough. It's not the use of DeepSeek, because every time I go on DeepSeek and I say, people say, oh, the answers are not the best one. There is some bias. There are information that you cannot access due to the limitations of Chinese policy. Look, this is all irrelevant comparing with this next slide. This is what matters. If you use if you use this QR code here, you will see an article called DeepSeek R1, Incentivizing Reasoning Capability in Large Language Model via Reinforcement Learning. And why this is the breakthrough? This paper was published in January 25th. On this link here, I'm showing you on this link here, this QR code here, you can read this paper, download the PDF and read the paper. And this is what shook up all Wall Street, all AI companies everywhere. And the trick is, they did some magic, that they just shift a model that for training would require hundreds of millions US dollars into 5.7, $5.8 million. So it's not something that I did it cheaper. It's not this point. I did it extremely cheaper. And this put at risk all supply chain and all strategies of these huge, massive AI companies. This is the point. Look, being super honest, I don't know, I don't have the knowledge, the technical knowledge on the model and this. But if what they did, the breakthrough on this article, is something that is absolutely true, that there is nothing hidden behind that, there is no tricky on that, this is an absolute game changer in AI. And honestly, now, if you want my personal opinion, this is Ricardo's opinion, I think that there is a good level of truth on that. And why I'm saying this? Because 2 days ago, 2 days, yes, February 5th, 2 days ago, take a look on this. Stanford University Research released an OpenAI o1 rival. And it's not a typo here. This is not a typo. For under $50. Do you have an idea of the implications of that? This was 2 days ago. This is a game changer for NVIDIA, for OpenAI, for everything. And you may ask me, okay, what's the game changer for us in the project management field? If this becomes true, you may develop your own large language model. You can use pieces of different large language models, and you can train, for example, the data of your projects yourself inside your company. You can have Ricardo's large language model, Antonio's large language model. You know, any of you can develop this. If this becomes true, this will change absolutely everything. Everything. And it will change completely the dominance we have today on specific models. And this will allow you inside a PMO to create a large language model. Imagine, look, I'm not even thinking $50, but imagine if this becomes real. If this becomes real, any of us, all of us here watching this webinar today, we can develop our own AI system. And this can shift the concepts of privacy, confidentiality, and everything. Because, you know, for you to train, because remember, if we take a look on how much money OpenAI spent on training their models, we are not talking about 1 million, 2 million. That is already a lot of money. We're talking about 100 million. We're talking about 200 million. And this is why it's so important, that paper. For me, that paper, since the paper of Jan LeCun that started all these wave of these new models of AI, I would say that this is a breakthrough if this becomes a reality. Because what will happen, and of course I don't have a crystal ball, but what will happen, and we need to be aware, is that like DeepSeek, probably in the next month, like the news I said on Stanford, we will see billions of large language models. You know, I can join, you know, this group here watching this webinar, and we can develop one. You know, I can, you know, take my books and develop another one instead of relying on a large language model and just adapting and tailoring some aspects of it to my needs. So this is an absolute game changer. And this is an absolutely contrast with what we are seeing. And what, of course, look, the OpenAI, Google, they have brilliant people. So the response of OpenAI and the response of Google to that was what? They released O3 Mini and Gemini 2 Pro in the past weeks, just after DeepSeek. It was, for me personally, an answer showing. And they are all competing with one thing: mathematical reasoning and coding. So now be mindful. If any of you watching this webinar are from IT, are from projects in technology, there is really a war happening now on this field in terms of AI. So if you are working, okay, I have a company that develops software in this. Look, all of them coding, all of them, we are talking about prompt understanding, reasoning. Both of them are really trying to make the concept of low code, no code so easy and so accessible that it will shift completely the landscape on how we develop and we manage IT projects. And O3 Mini, it was not planned to be released with ChatGPT plus this $20 subscription of OpenAI, but it's now available. Gemini 2 Pro, release it for free and open. This was the answer, because the shockwave sent by DeepSeek was so big, so powerful, that every single investor is saying, look, any of you, if you work for an enterprise now, if you work for a large company and you are planning to spend 20 million, 15 million in AI projects, at this time, what you're thinking, should I do that? Is it worth, or is it better to wait just a little bit more until someone release something that I will have, please let me be very naive here. I will release like a Microsoft Office large language model builder that you say, upload your files, press the button train, and in 2 days, you have a large language model ready in your computer. Look, today at this moment, if I was recording this webinar, I would say 2 months ago, I would say, oh, my friend, you need just that plus $50 million to do that. But maybe, again, maybe this will change. And this is just to show how volatile this environment is and how we are seeing, things changing in a dramatic way. And one of the reasons why both Antonio and we decide to do this webinar, we stop, I stop at everything for this hour here to really to talk to you and Antonio also, because we truly see a wave of change that is really impressive. It's something that in my work I have never seen in such a dramatic speed. It's such a big race that maybe next month I will say, oh, DeepSeek was a blunt. This does not exist. It's really $100 million, or maybe it will be something different. So what is this? This basically was a response from the big players like Google and OpenAI on that. And this drives me to the next thing that is on my radar. All of us, we saw the concept of the Stargate project. This is a project we saw the US president with the leaders of SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle together signing a massive agreement that is about $500 billion. And this is for me, I did some research before this webinar, and I haven't seen a technology project of this level. This is $500 billion project. 4 years. This is not $500 billion in 25 years. This is 4 years. And then I have a question to all of you in terms of portfolio management. Do you see how hard it is to make a bet? For example, if DeepSeek approach and Stanford approach, or maybe another approach that will appear next week, it's true. Why we should spend $500 billion on that? If maybe $10 million will be enough. Why should I buy and reactivate nuclear power plants to generate energy? So this is the mindset. And imagine you now, any of you here watching this webinar, imagine that you now are part of this Stargate project. Imagine how hard it is to make these decisions. This is why, for example, I'm talking a lot about how to make decisions in this type of volatile environment, because the Stargate project can be the most breakthrough projects in the history of technology, and it can be also the largest waste of money in the whole history of humankind. Don't tell me what will happen because I have no idea. Like pretty much all of us, it's hard to do that. But this is what is happening, and it's happening as we speak. For example, these news of Stanford University. When I saw $50, trust me, I thought it's wrong. This cannot be possible. Not $50. $50 is it's nothing. You know, it's a lunch. And if this is something that has the potential to become true, oh God, then we need to sit and revisit everything because it will change dramatically. So let's think about that, okay? Now, look, because Antonio didn't show up yet, so I will share his video. If he shows up, I will bring him in, okay? He's traveling. He was traveling right now. And meanwhile, while you listen, please put your questions. You can ask anything on the Q&A. Please, I'm not, because I'm alone here, I cannot read all the chat and answer. So please make sure you put your question if you have any questions on the Q&A. Let me show you Antonio's comment that he sent to me a few minutes ago.
Hi Ricardo, hi everyone. I'm sorry I cannot make it today. I'm just finished a conference here in Sweden in a town called Lund. I was talking about the future of work and the project economy, AI of course, big topic. And I'm going to be flying back from Copenhagen to Madrid when you have the webinar. So I thought just sending a small video saying that I think the things that are happening are in AI are just so disruptive. It's what happened with the Chinese AI and making AI so cheap and using less resources. It's going to create a big competition about new applications, new use of AI. Everybody can now basically create its own AI, so I just think it's just going to be disruptive. To me it feels like chaos, but chaos always leads to amazing inventions, so I'm very excited about that. Also that it's not just US based, that we see more AI driven initiatives around the world, and it's more balanced. In terms of project management and projects, my feeling is that I don't see much progress in the adoption, and I don't see that we are testing AI more regularly. Somehow, when I talk about AI with people in the project space, they say, well, what we have internal policies and we cannot use data and all right reasons, but that doesn't stop us to try new things. That's what we teach in our master class, Ricardo and I, the next one in March, as he will tell you, but it should not block us to experiment and embed some of the AI principles in our projects. I think the ones that will succeed, the project managers, the project leaders, are those that embed AI in their day-to-day practices in their projects. On the other hand, also AI is moving really fast. I just read an article from IBM CEO, and he was saying that AI is going to replace all repetitive tasks. For sure, we know that, and there's a lot in project management. But at the same time, he was saying that he managed, or they just turned a team in HR from 750 people to just 50, which is insane. How can you reduce your staff from 750 to 50 with the help of AI in HR? So there might be things that go faster than what we think. And yeah, that can happen in projects too, right? So this is not just in HR or finance, but it's happening everywhere. So again, that call for action, that urgency to experiment, to build new tools around AI. We've seen Harmony, we share that, and we're very proud of what's been done with Harmony. There's a few other tools, but it's all in our hands to try, and there's no limit. So don't wait too much to embed AI in your practices. I think Ricardo, myself, we use it on a daily basis many times, and I just see more and more opportunities to use it in my projects. So the same, I think that call for action, that urgency, it's something I wanted to share. There is also the risk that I see, I mentioned that I think last time, is that every 2 years there's some kind of big revolution in the way we manage projects. 20 years ago we had the Agile Manifesto, we were really on the boom of e-commerce, and now we're in the boom of AI, and if we don't adapt the way we manage projects, if we don't move into hybrid methods, if we don't embed AI, I'm just worried that something will come which says we can do projects without project managers, for example. Or with our tools, you just need 20% of project management workforce, and the rest is done by AI, and your success rate will be higher. So I just see that could happen, and we just need to be aware that if that happens, we just need to come up with something stronger that we can offer and that we can show the world. So it will be a pity after all the effort that we've done, modernizing project management, making it visible on senior leaders, the project economy, and so on, to stop doing that and getting taken over by something else. And the last thing is more a tip. I like that all of you try to start using ChatGPT or Gemini, the one, to program. So not just use prompts, but I would love to see some examples, and if you do, on how have you used ChatGPT or Gemini or Cloe to program things of your projects. In the master class, hopefully the ones that have not been there will join us. We show how you can create a survey in a Google form in a matter of seconds using AI to program the coding language. I've used that to create my...
Look, for some reason, the video was stopped here, but Antonio just wanted to say this. Of course, he recorded from the event, but he said some very important points that I want to address in a couple of minutes about what is keeping me up at night. But before I talk about that, I put 5 points about that, and I will discuss with you in a minute. But I want to just quickly go through some of the questions. Again, please submit your questions on the Q&A, because I'm alone here. I cannot track all the questions on the chat, okay? So Pascal, wonderful seeing you. Is this the end of RAG? Okay, RAG means Retrieved Augmented Generation. It's a model that you take the large language model and you add, it's the custom GPT is a way of that, okay? Being very simplistic here. It's something like that you attach to a large language model to customize that. For example, PMI Infinity is an example of this concept instead of you generating. And Pascal said, is this the end of RAG? Look, if this becomes true, I think the cost, because why RAG is so nice? Because it's cheap. because it's very expensive to train a large language model. If you can do that in a simpler way, in much cheaper way, there is a chance that RAG will become probably less effective on that, okay? Munir, why did OpenAI strategically release a ChatGPT deep search with $200 subscription instead of giving it for free? Look, this is something we need to ask to Sam Altman, but I think they released that before DeepSeek, okay? And if you ask me, Ricardo, would you bet that they will reduce this price? I would say yes. I will believe because O3 Mini is this. For example, I don't have the Pro subscription, but I have the Plus subscription. And I can use O3 Mini. And O3 Mini was not available yet. Now, Gemini 2.0 Pro, that is an excellent model. Google is putting it for free. This is, so probably, Munir, we will see some changes on that because probably people that are paying the $200 to have a ChatGPT Pro may see, okay, is this worth? Of course, for companies, this is not a big deal, but for people, this is a relevant amount of money. So this is my take on that, okay? Federico, anyway, I tested DeepSeek through a benchmark as a PM assistant. Similar quality as the big USA players. Have you tried some way? Of course, yes. I used it a lot, and it's so incredible that most of the big US companies are also making DeepSeek available for their customer. Microsoft did that, so you can use in the cloud of Microsoft DeepSeek. So I use that. Honestly, I'm not using DeepSeek, as I use ChatGPT. I need to be brutally honest with you, just because I'm more accustomed with ChatGPT. But many times I use DeepSeek. For example, it comes with a very nice answer. It's extremely fast. And every time I think, if they really spend 5.7 million to train that, then we changed everything. Then we changed everything. But it's a very good, and my strongly advice to you. Of course, I'm not talking about your corporate information or your company or the restrictions of your company. Several US entities and several government entities are not allowed to use DeepSeek. But on a private base, if I were you, I would install DeepSeek. You can download from the app store and use it. And it does not hurt. Just test it and see, at least for you to have a more critical view on what is that, okay? One thing that I want to share with you. Recently, Antonio and I, as part of our venture lab, we released it and we announced it Harmony, and it was a big event. We have a lot of people interested on that, and it was a lot of traction. And the Harmony is your AI project manager, okay? And of course, I received dozens of messages saying, I want to test, I want to be a beta tester, I want to start using it. So I put here the QR code if you are interested. Remember one thing, Harmony is not an AI, it's not yet an AI assistant for your personal project in this. It's a solution for enterprise, okay? It's like adding a team member to your project that is able, okay, to connect with Asana, to connect with Jira, Microsoft Teams, and everything. And from, for example, a simple email you send to Harmony, it can create the plan, it can create the artifacts, it can do risk analysis, it can assign resources based on their profiles, it can access calendars, and all of this. So it's a project that Antonio and I, we are working since October last year, okay, together with Sean, that is the founder, and this is a great team. So it's a very disruptive. And if you are interested, just reach out, because I am not the person to approve people to use it, okay? But it's very worth for you to take a look on that, okay? Now, for me, I know that when I say this, and of course, I want to finish on time and do this, a lot of people saying, Ricardo, what keeps you up at night? And before I show the next slide, it's, of course, I'm a human being like all of you. So don't feel that I'm feeling comfortable with all this change and say, oh, that's good, DeepSeek, Stargate, and OpenAI, and this fight, who will win, and will things change? And so what is happening? And this is what I want to show with you in this next slide. And please, I don't want to be pessimistic or optimistic, but I want to share with you here things that really I struggle to understand and to prepare myself. Remember, I'm a project manager, okay? And there are something that I see that I say, wow, this is powerful. For example, most of the mathematical problems I have in projects today, instead of doing them by hand or instead of using Microsoft Excel to do that, I'm using AI. I'm using models like O1, O3 Mini now to solve allocation problems, resource leveling problems, portfolio management projects, analytical hierarchy process, risk analysis, Monte Carlo simulation. I'm using instead of doing, and I'm taking a fraction. Of course, sometimes, because of the experience, I have a feeling of the result. When I see that the result does not match, then I go a little bit deeper, or then I test in a different model. This is why, for example, I use different models on that. Of course, every time I'm doing this, I change the concepts and everything to make sure that there is no issue with privacy. But this raises a lot of questions. And this is what I want to share with you here on what keeps me up. The first one, will we see the death of traditional expertise? I don't have an answer. And what keeps me super concerned about is that everybody just say, oh, it's wonderful. You will do this. Everything will be just perfect. But at the end, what will be the value of the traditional expertise we have? If in some point AI start to negotiate, start to do hiring, start to selecting the best resource, allocating the best resource, keeping track of the best resource, keeping track of the work, solving problems, negotiating with suppliers, making risk analysis, what we will do. And I'm saying this from my heart, and this is not easy to say. Okay, this is not easy to say, but it's something that we need to be mindful, and we need to keep track on how our profession will evolve vis-a-vis that. And it's not our profession. I'm not saying project management, but I'm saying pretty much every professional, how things will be in the future if this pace of evolution continues to grow. And this is not, I would say, a catastrophic, I'm painting, but it's something that we need to keep in mind. We need to keep in mind that together with all these amazing things, there may be things that will be challenging for us. The second thing is the concept of speed over stability. What I see today is really a golden age race. And speed over stability, it's what is happening. People are releasing things without, I would say, a very deep thought on what will be the consequences of what they are developing. And these will be you on your AI project will be, companies like OpenAI or companies like DeepSeek. So we need to see this trade-off on how fast things evolve and how well thought these things are. And this sometimes keeps me awake because we don't know all the consequences on the things that are happening today. And many of them, they will have long-term consequences. For example, like social media. We are seeing some of the consequences of social media now. And social media exists for quite a while. The third one is all about data. Data will be the most relevant asset because if I tell you, you can build a large language model with $1,000, $500, that's good. But then comes to the big question, with what data? What will be the data? Okay, the engine will be nice, but without the data, and what I see today is that project managers are not thinking enough about data. Most of the companies I work with, most of the companies Antonio work with, they struggle to have the right data. When you look for historical information for past performance and thus, most of the time there is no data, there is nothing. And then even if the cost of training LLM is zero, if you have no data to train, what you will produce? So this is why data is the new project fuel. So if there is one thing that I strongly advise, if you listening to me are working on a PMO or working on this, I would say that make sure you're capturing the data as best as you can, because these will be your fuel for competitive advantage, is to have the right data, because then you will be able to answer and to get ready to the questions you may have in the future. The next point, the fourth one, is AI will redefine the concept of value in projects. For example, we saw PMI recently releasing a big study about success and value. AI will redefine. Look what Antonio said. We redefine because maybe we will be able to do more and more with less, or we will be able to deliver something that nobody expected. For example, when I said about harmony, I never ever thought that this could be possible 1 year ago. And maybe 1 year from now, we will have maybe sitting on our side a robot that will do that. I don't know, but success will be very much redefined. And this is why, for example, I am afraid. I respect a lot different opinions. I respect a lot. I learned how to respect that people do not think the same way. But when I see, for example, people on LinkedIn saying that, AI is a big scam, AI will make nothing in terms of impacting project management. Project management will continue to be the same and this. I listen, I understand, but I feel concerned because, okay, let's suppose this is right. What is the bad thing for you to learn? Learn is always great. But what happens if you're not able to understand what we are talking here and this big wave of AI gets to the shore? Gets to the shore, gets to the establishment, gets to inside your company, if it's not already there. And then you say, wow, what I was planning to do, now I can do everything using AI. So instead of spending 10 hours, I spend 5 minutes. What will happen? What will be the consequences? So we need to be mindful of this trend. And last but not least, AI agents will challenge project leadership. And I'm not saying this to say, okay, so Harmony will take out project managers. I'm not saying Harmony, but Microsoft Copilot, if you want to use a different name or something like that. But what I'm saying is that there is a chance that AI agents may challenge the current project leadership. Why? Because they take action. They are trained to take actions. And of course, they can hallucinate, they can make wrong decisions as humans do. Humans also make mistakes. What is happening today, if you use ChatGPT, if you use Gemini today, you will notice that hallucinations, these kind of mistakes, they are reducing, less and less mistakes. And we can see this. So these may challenge project leadership. So these are the things that are keeping me, I would say, wake up at night, in terms of what is happening with the projects. Now I want just to go quickly because we still have many questions here, but I'll try to go very fast to some of them. Look, Arshad, if we are all developing our own large language model, where is the underlying data going to come from? Oh, this is the magic question. This is exactly what I just said. If you have no data, of course, you can go to an open source and have some data, but if you have no data, what you will do. And this is why, for example, OpenAI is saying that DeepSeek copied their data and this, so I have no knowledge to question or to discuss that. But this is why, Arshad, please make sure you store data, you generate data. Just to give you an idea, this is very humble and very personal. I have today 64 terabytes of data. This is nothing, but this is just my personal file. Personal file of projects, 64 tera in data that are stored. I have a local store and also on AWS. And this is, of course, I'm not able to train yet because I have no idea of, and I don't have $100 million to train now, and I don't have a bunch of NVIDIA chips. But if something happens, that data can be worth a lot in terms of competitive advantage. So it's time for you to do the same, to keep track. I have project data going back to 25 years, on experience and this. Yes. Okay. Is this, Alex, 64 terabyte? Yes, because it has images, even photos of the projects I have. Okay, and it's just my preference. It's the way I store my information, articles, everything, drafts, and this is why I'm not using all of them now. I'm using probably 0.10 zeros and 1. But maybe in the future, this can be a big thing, right? So this is why data is so important, okay? Toran, great to see you, my dear. You had a question. With the evolving technology day by day, it makes us wonder now, how can we balance the increasing energy demands for AI technology with the goal of making it more accessible and sustainable in the long run? Again, we are on the crossroad on the AI world. Will the AI world continue to the path that we thought 60 days ago, that will require massive amount of energy, massive amount of power, of computer capabilities to work? And this is the seed of Stargate project. This will require a lot of energy, and energy may be a larger bottleneck, even if we compare with traditional data in this. Maybe data will not be the problem, energy will be the problem. But if we cross things and we can make these using far less chips and much cheaper, then we will solve the problem of energy pretty much naturally. So this is the crossroad we are facing now, because if we move on the path we were moving 60 days ago, then things can require a massive and an unbelievable amount of energy. And this will be a critical step if we think on sustainability, on sustainable energy, and this will disrupt pretty much everything. Okay. Isa, good to see you, Isa. With DeepSeek in the picture now, do you think that these will push OpenAI and others to accelerate their approach to reach AGI? Absolutely. 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 Look, there is nothing more typical to create incentives for you to run than competition. There is nothing, absolute. So I have no doubt that as we speak here, people are insanely trying to reach new levels of AI. And this is why, for example, sometimes, it's hard to sleep because, with all these developments, imagine if this becomes even more. So I have no doubt, Isa, that DeepSeek was an absolutely big shake on the market on that, okay? Esperant, hi Ricardo, I would like to know how I can learn to become a PM for AI projects. Should I master AI theory and tools? Can I dive deep in prompt engineering? Look, Esperant, for me, what is important? It's important to understand that AI projects are like super agile projects, and that prompt engineering is not directly related to that. Prompt engineering, this is my personal opinion, will die because the models will become so complex and so elaborate that they will understand. For example, when I use ChatGPT now, I open and they answer, "Hi, Ricardo." They already know my name. I don't need to explain who I am. They know who I am. And this will reduce prompt engineering requirement. This is my view. But for you to understand, it's a hyper connected and volatile development where you need to reduce cycles and you need to publish and deliver things as fast as you can. It's like, I would say, if you have never heard about Spotify model, take a look on the Spotify model. I have some podcasts on that will give you some insights on this AI. And of course, Esperant, I'm not doing an ad here, but in our masterclass, there is one model where we talk exactly about that, okay? Ioannis, great to see you, my friend. Not a question, but just a thinking about what Antonio just said. Are we to live in the future a science fiction scenario where AI machines will have developed an equally sophisticated human-like brain that human PMs won't be needed? Glooming scenario. Yes, Giovanni, I would love to have an answer for that. I don't know. I think maybe. I don't think it will be tomorrow. I think at some point in the future, something like that may happen. It will not be tomorrow. But what we need just to be very well prepared. Maybe in the future, things will be very different. But this, of course, it's something that I don't have an answer to that. I would love to, okay, but I don't have a clear answer to that. Maya, what are some of the AI tools that you have used and foresee will be used by project managers in the future? Look, obviously, ChatGPT, Gemini 2 Pro, Perplexity, Cloe, and DeepSeek. Okay, these are the 5 tools I use all the time, with ChatGPT being used probably 60 to 70%. Okay, and the others I share. Most of the time I use the others just to confirm some aspects on ChatGPT. On specific tools, I use a lot Gamma for making slide decks. I use a lot called magic to do from Goblin tools to decompose work breakdown structures and to create a project scope. I use Grammarly to write reports and to prepare reports and to write. So I use several sets of language. And now, I'm starting with Sean to do some tests on Harmony to use the concept of AI agents and action-based AI. And I'm testing also the tasks of OpenAI, that is the OpenAI generic AI agent. These are the tools I'm using today. But look, there are billions of tools out there that you can use and you will benefit. But of course, these big ones are the most relevant I use now. Victoria, didn't OpenAI unfairly train its AI models, such as ChatGPT, on newspapers, content, and authors' books? I'm not able to answer on behalf of OpenAI, but there is a possibility. Okay, we don't know. Remember, when you train a large language model, it's like putting the content into a blender. You take the content, you put into a blender, and you turn on. Imagine that you put in a blender tomatoes, carrots, okay, and avocado together. And then you blend. How do you know which piece of the blended result comes from the tomato, comes from the carrot? And this is what happens. When you see a large language model, you don't know if that piece, that token, comes from my book, Ricardo's book, or comes from a different place. And this is why it's so hard, I would say, to manifest copyright claims into that. This is an absolutely big fight, okay? Look, two final ones, okay? In your opinion, how much time does it need to set aside to prepare for the AIPM certification? Look, of course, it depends on you, but I would say that if you spend around 20 good hours of study, you will be able to pass. Okay, we are facing with the new exam, we are facing an increased success rate. Okay, we tailor, we improve the language, and that's so we think that it will be around 20 hours. Okay, this is for you. Okay, Kevin, with all the new solutions, what are the top 2 AI tools for me? ChatGPT, top 3, Gemini 2 Pro, and DeepSeek. And DeepSeek just to see an outlier working, just to see how an outlier works. So before I finish, I just want to remember all of you, okay? We have Beatriz and others asked, okay, we have a coupon code for our certification, our masterclass, and the bundle. It calls AI Agents. You can use until February 16th, and this will give you $100. And honestly, everything we receive, and I can say for myself, most of the revenue that comes from this, I go to my scholarship program at my online school, and also to fund the time and the Zoom and everything to do that. So really, we want to do something bigger. So this is for the certification. So we did the codes, the same codes for all of them, and the code is Beatriz asked, AI-agents. You can use it. And look, thank you very much for your time. Look, I was very concerned about sharing that slide on things that wake me up at night, but I truly wanted to share this with you because I think it's it's important that it's duty of care with all of us to see, because of course, don't think that because Antonio and I, we are working with this all the time, that we think, oh, everything is magic and everything is wonderful. No, it's challenging. It's challenging for everybody, but we will get there. Okay. Look, enjoy the rest of your month. And Antonio and I will be back with all of you in the first Friday of March to discuss what is happening. And truly, I don't know what I will say next month. Okay. See you there. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful weekend to all.